Hey, it's Jack, and I'm here to talk to you about what some call the eighth wonder of the world, compound growth. Let's jump right in. Compound growth is pretty much as close to magic as you get, and the key to making it work for you is simple: time and patience. Yeah, I know, it seems like a little bit of a cop-out, but hear me out. Compound growth really is the key to wealth and financial success. We often see the most successful as these spontaneous events. Celebrities just have that glow. The wealthy and powerful seem like they were just destined to be. But if you go back far enough, every single person probably looked exactly like everybody else. Now, of course, there are some exceptional stories out there. The fastest way to be a millionaire is to be born a millionaire. But, as the saying goes, Rome wasn't built in a day. And it's true. Humanity is what it is because we have the ability to learn and to grow and to use past knowledge that prior generations left for us. And that's exactly the same idea that we should be thinking about here. Humanity grows because it's able to build off the capital that it had before. That's exactly the key to individual and personal success. You want to be able to build and grow off of what you've accumulated in the past. That's why they say that the poor stay poor and the rich get richer, because the rich are able to take advantage of compound growth like nobody's business. If you have 1% on even $1 billion, you're making a ton of money. But if you're not accessing compound growth, if you're not giving yourself the opportunity to see your money work for you, you're missing out on the number one way to become wealthy and to pass that wealth on to generations if you so desire. So remember, the key to wealth is this: $1 today is worth so much more later on because you have the power to invest it now. Since we're looking at the long term, let's take $1 and invest it in the S&P 500 for 30 years. The S&P 500 gives usually a historical average of about 7 to 8% adjusted for inflation. If you invest that dollar for 30 years, that dollar becomes worth approximately $10 in present value. What does that mean? That means that that dollar that you spend could give you $10 in real value if you just invest it for the long term. And if you wait just 10 years to invest that dollar, if you say, I have time to invest for retirement, I have time to invest for a mortgage, I have time, I'm not gonna do it now. If you wait just 10 years, the amount that you can get gets cut in half. And so you may be saying, $1, $10, not really a big deal. I spent money years ago. I don't want to worry about it. I don't want to live with regrets. I just want to spend and live now. Hopefully you can see that multiplying your money by 10 is a pretty big thing. If you had $1,000, that's about the price of a new phone or a new laptop today. Crazy to think about, but it's true. $1,000 invested in the S&P 500 for that same time frame, same adjusted for inflation return, 7 to 8%. If you invest that $1,000 today over 30 years, that becomes worth over $10,000. And the same thing applies. If you wait 10 years, you get less than half of that amount. Less than half. So really think about what that means here. So yes, it's not as glamorous as me coming to you and saying, hey guys, I've got the ultimate dropshipping opportunity right here, right now. If you just click the link in the description, I'm going to be able to tell you how you can make $10,000 in a month. Unfortunately, I don't have those kinds of secrets, but I can tell you that investing your money over the long term is the number one way to guarantee that you will become a millionaire. Many people in the United States are living paycheck to paycheck. According to a 2018 study done by the Federal Reserve, 40% of Americans would not be able to cover an unexpected $400 expense. That's crazy. That's horrible. And what I want is to be able to empower you to be able to not only jump that hurdle, but to be able to save for retirement, to be able to become a millionaire, and to be able to have your wealth accumulated over time so that you can have healthy financial success. For those of you who are balking at the idea of dare investing anything when you say to yourself, what if I need the money right now? Well, that's understandable because everybody's situations are different. And for those of you who are in that situation, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you open a high yield savings account. You may have a savings account at some brick and mortar bank where you're getting 0.01% interest on your savings. And yes, it's good to save in general. And I am so happy that you even know what your savings rate is if you do. But you could be getting so much more for your money if you're just saving it alone. We're gonna talk about investing later, which I think you should really be doing. But if you're really not in a spot to do it right now, open that high yield savings account because you can usually get at least 1% or 1.5% return per year on your savings. And yes, maybe that's not a lot. We have other alternatives, as we just discussed with the S&P 500, but if you really need access to your money right now and you want to be able to build up an emergency fund, which I'd love to talk about in a future video of why it's so important, but if you need to build up an emergency fund right now or you need some place to put short-term savings, high yield savings account is where you want to put it. So rates are really low right now, but would you rather get 1% or 0.01% of a return per year on your savings? So just to be clear, if you wanted to get $1 a year out of your savings, in a high yield savings account, all you have to put is $100. Keep it there for a year and you get $1 in interest. If you want to get $1 with the typical brick and mortar bank savings account, you're going to have to put $10,000 in there and then leave that over a year. So I don't know about you, but I think I would prefer to get more for less. Not to mention, inflation is usually around 2 to 3% a year, which means that if you're not managing your money well enough, you're actually going to see compound growth work against you. So if you have, let's say, $100 in cash, you leave it in a drawer, you leave it in your pocket or someplace in cash, it's not earning any interest. You have that $100, you leave it there over the same 30-year time period, you're gonna see that $100 erode slowly over time into being only worth $55. And so that's why it's so important to get whatever kind of interest payments, whatever kind of compound growth you can. So, I mean, for the long term, obviously, you don't want to be putting all your money into savings. You want to be investing it. But for the short term, put it into a high yield savings account. Don't even worry about it. I highly recommend Ally Bank, Discover Savings, Marcus by Goldman Sachs. These are all very good high yield savings accounts. One disclaimer is that these are digital accounts only, which means that you're not going to be able to walk up to an ATM and just deposit your money directly into your account. You're going to need to have a checking account that you can deposit your money into. If you are dealing with physical cash, you're going to need to have a regular checking account at some brick and mortar bank or credit union, deposit your money through there, and then deposit it into a high yield savings account through that checking account. And yes, it's a little bit of work, but I guarantee you it's worth it so that your money is not wasting away in the worst possible way to inflation. And right now, rates aren't covering inflation anymore, and you really shouldn't be putting your money in a savings account to beat inflation, but at the very least, it's helping you to keep as much value as you can from whatever you're stashing away for whatever purpose, be it a concert or a vacation or a mortgage or an emergency fund. Savings account. However, let's get back to what you really want to see. Beating inflation, getting high returns, being able to save at a ridiculous amount. And it really doesn't take much to get started. You can open up a Roth IRA at Vanguard or Schwab or Fidelity. All of these places have ETFs, exchange-traded funds that you can invest in that mirror the S&P 500 at very low costs. And so you can open those accounts, put your money into there, and not even worry about it. What you want to do and what you want to remember is that you are an investor for the long term. Right now, we're dealing with a market downturn due to the coronavirus that is having a ripple effect across the entire globe. And whether or not you're watching this when this is still an issue, or hopefully in the future, near future, begging, when this is all resolved and everything goes back to normal and better, regardless of when you're watching this, the best time to invest is right now. I'll say it again so you can hear me and really believe me when I say the best time to invest is right now. And the reason for that is because you are a long-term investor. Seriously, whether you're watching this right now in the lows of the coronavirus epidemic, or you're watching this when every single day on CNBC they're announcing that the stock market is an all-time record-breaking high, then I don't care. And you shouldn't care either, because now is always the perfect time to invest. Say it with me. Now is the perfect time to invest, because you are going to buy and hold. Buy and hold. And why are you going to buy and hold? Well, remember, we're talking about compound growth. We're talking about putting away money and letting it work for us. And so if that concept is still a little bit shaky for you, let me give you a scenario to chew on just for a little bit. Imagine that you started investing in 1972 with $6,000 that you saved up over 2 years. And you, unfortunately, invested at all of the worst possible times. From 1972 to 2014, you invested consistently at the peak of the market right before it crashed. And at every single crash, you decided, well, I'm just going to wait until the market looks good again. And so every single time you got to the peak and then it crashed. Even if you were the worst market timer in the world, which you are in this scenario, unfortunately, as long as you do this one simple thing, you would become a millionaire. All you need to do is buy and hold. Buy and hold, because you are a long-term investor. If you did that from 1972 to 2014, even though you were the worst investor in the world, you timed the market horribly every single time, you would still come out being a millionaire with $1.1 million. Because you were a long-term investor. You never sold in a panic. You never sold to realize any losses. You bought and you held. And you did that consistently over 4 decades. And that allowed you to become a millionaire. Everybody's investment portfolio is going to look different based on their individual needs and desires. And I'm not advocating a 100% stock portfolio if you're 60 years old and you need the money in 5 years. But what I'm saying is that if you have a time horizon of at least 10 years, you want to be invested so that you're getting the ability to feed off of the compound growth of the market. You want to be able to ride the growth, because the market grows over the long term. And these are historical numbers. So these numbers are provided by the long term. This is consistently backed up by research, by data. This isn't just in the recent years that we've had of a really great market up until relatively recently, but even now compared to 50 years ago, you would still make a killing if you had invested in the S&P 500 50 years ago, and even 30 years ago. Right now, the market's at where it was about in 2017, which means that you would still be making a profit if you had invested from 1972 consistently. So you'd still be a millionaire in this scenario. Even with the coronavirus downturn affecting the stock market, you would still be a millionaire if you invested consistently and bought and held your position over the years consistently. That is the key to wealth and financial success. Buy and hold consistently and invest consistently. You'll be able to turn the tides of compound growth in your favor and accumulate healthy savings over time. What I like most about this is that even though it's not very flashy, it gives you reason to be optimistic. And no matter when you're jumping in, as long as you're doing something consistently, as long as you're staying the course and not letting fear take control of your mind and not selling when the market goes down, as so many people erroneously do, buy and hold, you'll be able to become a millionaire. Yes, it takes time, but it doesn't really take that much effort to invest into the market and not look at it and just keep on going and keep doing that. And that's what I love about this so much, is because It gives everybody the opportunity to ride the waves of compound growth and to be able to build themselves a larger nest egg than they would have been able to if they, had been afraid of investing or had been afraid to take their money out of a checking account. Really taking a look at the options that you have available to you is the key to being able to access compound growth and being able to build that up for yourself. And I really want to make sure that I'm providing a valuable service and providing information that honestly not a lot of people seem to have access to. And if I can set just one person up on the path to financial success, I will be extremely happy. And obviously, the more the merrier. So please help me get feedback so I can make my content better for you all. Leave a thumbs up if you like this video and you want to keep supporting this channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the future. Later.